and welcome to the North Bank podcast. Wow, wow, wow. If Carlsberg could do footballing weekends, they'd go some distance to do better than the weekend we've just had. Liverpool City dropping points on Saturday, and then we wiped the floor with that lot yesterday. Wow, wow, wow. I'm your host, Holly. I'm joined by Stef and Chris, where we will bask in the glory, that glory, and more glory, I'm sure, over the next 35, 40, 45, 2 hours, 10 hours, whatever it is. We'll just keep going. Hi, guys. How are you two?
Very well.
I am
top of the league.
Buzzing. Absolutely buzzing. How are you?
Yeah, listen, I'm wearing a scarf, not because it's cold in here, but because I just thought I had to adorn something red and white just as a marker for what was like a pretty special North London derby. I mean, I don't know how many I've seen over the last 40 odd years, and maybe recency bias kicks in, but that ranks right up there with the very best of them. It really does. But Steph, I think we should start with you, because you didn't just have the North London derby yesterday. You had quite the interesting day, in the build-up and so on. Just talk us through what your North London derby day experience actually entailed.
Well, it started with a very cramped 2 and a bit hour minibus journey down, but that's because living out here in Norfolk, I'm part of a Norfolk Arsenal supporters club, and recently we got given the opportunity to do the players greeting when the bus shows up, and cheer the players as they arrive, give them a little round of applause, and we're told in no circumstance should you boo Tottenham. Genuinely, like, because Sky cameras are there and all those sorts of things as well. They want it all very decorum, so they really went to great pains to tell us not to boo. Did they
ask you not to boo the referee?
They actually didn't say anything about the referee, but when Michael Oliver did arrive and walked in, I just went, "Yep, lovely work, Michael. Yep, good. You do a very difficult job. Well done, mate. Cheers."
No sarcasm at all, obviously.
Me? Sarcastic? You're kidding.
What?
But anyway, and then also there was a drive, a big charity collection for Islington Food Bank. So the supporters club managed to raise a few £100 in cash, plus some gift aid stuff, and as well as donating some goods for the Islington Food Bank. And then as a gesture of thanks, the club arranged for a player to come down. We were hoping for a bit more time and signing some stuff, but they were a bit pushed for time. But a player did come down and had a little team photo with us and shook a few hands before then disappearing off, and that really did start the day off in very, very special fashion. And that player
was
Gabriel. Injured Gabriel. It was quite sad to see him sort of half limp in, but he arrived and he was very welcoming and very nice, very smiley with his beautifully pearly white teeth, and I have to say, flawless skin. His skin, I've never looked at another man's skin and thought, wow, that is flawless skin right there.
So, yeah, I think someone's been at it with an industrial buffer.
It was pretty good. He looked very good. But yeah, he came down and shook a few hands, so it was very exciting.
Did Gunnosaurus exhibit similar skin?
His skin, being, a few million years old, obviously his skin's not holding up to the same extent, but Gunnosaurus was there and we got some pics with him. A few people I was with were saying, "Oh, I'll get a pic with Gunnosaurus. It's for my daughter. It's for my daughter, obviously." And I'm like, yeah. Come here. I'll take your pictures.
On the wall.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
As you remember, guys, the last thing I did when I left Highbury, was get a selfie with, before they were even called selfies, I imagine, with Gunnosaurus. And that was an emotional day, so lovely that it's come full circle.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, so that really capped things off, and we saw Odegaard arrive. Sadly, it was just as a captain, kind of supporting the team, but the team looked great, and it was just lovely. I did a little fist bump with AirPods Albert. That was nice.
Oh.
So
and you had another selfie.
I did, actually, because then once I'd sort of finished with all that and had a little bit of time, I saw a bit of the Ashburton Army March. I know some people, I've seen some great footage since then of that. That looked really well attended and quite raucous. But I needed to get off and eat and do other things as well. As I'm making my way around the ground, who do I see? David Dein. So I, quickly spoke to him and I said, would you mind awfully if I have a picture? He was an absolute gentleman, kind as anything. I asked how he felt about today and he just looked at me and went, we'll do these. And that was it. Lovely bloke, top man. Yeah, very much a gentleman.
As it turns out, not misplaced confidence.
Not misplaced. I mean, he knows his football, doesn't he? He's a football man. So, yeah, David Dein, what a guy.
And Chris, did you manage to watch the whole game?
Yeah, I mean, by contrast, that all sounds brilliant, Steph. And, I'm in awe. It's
I feel very
fantastic.
lucky.
No, for everyone listening as well, to sort of just experience it, via you. It's just the one. It's lovely. By contrast, I had my friend shares my season ticket, and he took this one. I dropped my kids off to a pottery class. Right, get this. Right next.
Tell us you're middle class without telling us you're middle class.
It's not a regular pottery class. It's one that my mum bought as a present for my two youngest, and it's right next to the Spurs ground.
Oh, wow.
The Spurs ground. So I had to drive into enemy territory, and I even said to them, "We're going into enemy territory."
Put the central locking on.
There's the toilet bowl. Look up there, that big shiny thing. And they looked at it and went, "Ooh, get us out of here! Get us out of here!" So I thought they're well trained. So I dropped them off at the pottery class, and then went off to my parents' house to watch the game. And as you guys know, my dad is a Spurs fan, and we all know the song "My Old Man." And so, cut a long story short, I became an Arsenal fan very, very young, much to his disappointment. And he said, "Oh, you're going to watch the game?" Then I said, "Yes, I'll just sit at home on my own at your place watching the game," which I did. And it was very surreal because I was shouting and screaming on my own in this house. So.
Under normal circumstances, if I was at home watching a game of this magnitude, I probably wouldn't see all of it. I would be marking books or doing the laundry or washing the dishes or something, because the tension would be too much. And I'm, if I'm free to press pause, if I've got the power to press pause on the game and act like it's not happening and live another life for 5 minutes, I kind of do that. Whereas when I'm in the ground, it's the only place I can guarantee that I'll watch every minute regardless of what's happening. I just can't, I don't have I don't know. Maybe if I'm in a pub with others, I might.
But isn't it that thing that I've spoken about before, that when you're there, you feel like you're contributing as well. You're part of the collective. Yeah. And my girl said to me yesterday, what difference does one voice make amongst 60,000? I said, well, at what point does, a few voices make a difference? How, if you took away 100, does it make a difference? If you took away 1,000, it's not the point. The point is you are part of the collective, and you feel part of it, engaged, and you're kind of making a difference. That's how I feel anyway. I feel utterly helpless watching at home, and I certainly can't listen on the radio. So for me, I'm with you, Holly. When I'm watching on TV, I do watch all of it, but it's through, this knotted kind of anxiety, which I don't feel at the games. I'm much more...
It's true. It's true. It just feels, and the vast majority of Arsenal fans will have to experience it that way.
Yep.
Every game. I doff Steph's cap to them. That's it. Okay, so onto the team news. I was eagerly anticipating the team news, not even so much for the starting 11, but just to see who was going to turn up on the bench. And we had two nice surprises, Martinelli and Madueke back on the bench. That was lovely. That was brilliant. And Hincapié started in place of Gabriel, and I think that was the least disruptive option. And I'm glad. And it was nice that he had a nice, easy game against the 37th best team in Europe last season to kind of bed in. So that was nice. Calafiori overcame whatever issue he'd been carrying over the international break, and he came in at left back. And the rest of the team was as you were. Merino played... I've heard someone describe him, it might have even been Arteta, as a defensive 9, which I thought was a nice little description for him. and Saka and Trossard flanked him with Zubimendi, Rice, and God. Sorry, Eze in the number 10 role. Any surprises from you two at the team or the bench? Was it pretty much as expected?
All I would say, and I'm sure we'll come on to it, is how Spurs set up was the surprise for me. I thought going 5 for the first time this season was just a real indication of how seriously they took us, and probably put in their minds from the off that they were just going to be damage limitation almost. I just thought, they were obviously very poor, but in the way they had their 5 across the back and the way we set up was that we didn't really have a true centre forward. So who were they marking? We were having late runners coming in, like Trossard with his little run and Eze finding the space in between. That it just didn't work for them. So that for me, their setup was just wrong from the off.
Well, it's funny that you've mentioned that. I was going to come to it in a bit, but embarrassing, awful, abysmal, negative, any pejorative term you can come up with would be apt to describe that Spurs performance. I could not believe it. In my 40 plus years, I cannot recall a worse performance from a Spurs team. I just can't. It was shocking. And yes, the team selection maybe signalled that, but they were time wasting from the 4th minute. Every throw in, every goal kick. It was embarrassing. Like, it really was. I thought, we didn't, apart from the lovely little Eze dink through to Rice, and I kind of disagree with you, Chris, on that one. You said he should have scored. I just think when the ball's dropping over your shoulder like that, just get your connection, and then it's luck as to whether it goes past. And they got a bit lucky with that. Apart from that chance, we didn't really create much in the first 30 minutes, but Spurs didn't have anything over the halfway line. There's that good stat, Steph, you sent today, that Yuri and Timber had 4 touches in the opposition in the Spurs penalty box, which is more than the entire Spurs team had in our penalty box. And I just think that sums up. There was nothing. And as much as I've enjoyed consuming every piece of Arsenal content since I got home yesterday at about 8 o'clock, I have also equally enjoyed just witnessing, being a wallflower to this complete Spurs fan base. Not even a meltdown, but breakdown almost in response to that performance. I listened to Radio 5 and in the car on the way back from the ground, and Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton do my head in. But some of the Spurs fans were absolutely hilarious. Inject it into my veins. It was so funny. I was stuck in traffic going up Highgate Hill for ages, but I could have been there for hours. It wouldn't have mattered, because every now and then, and we've got Harry, a Spurs fan. It was just brilliant. It was brilliant.
Well, if you're going to play that kind of football, you've got to be winning. And I don't mean yesterday in isolation. I mean that frank style of play that he suited. And look, nice guy and everything. What he did at Brentford was great, but maybe he's brought a bit too much of that small club mentality to Spurs, and that's definitely what they don't want. When they got Conte and Merino, they were glad because there was a bit of stature to those names, and it was like, that's what we want. We want that kind of prestige to go along with this. As deluded as it might be from a Spurs fan, they believe they should be a lot more successful than they are. And if you're going to play defensive, counter-type punching football, you kind of need to be winning, because the fans won't buy it.
That's interesting, though, because they were unbeaten away from home. They were the best away record before they came to us.
Not happy at home, though, are they?
No, they're not. And I said to Steph before the game started that just about Spurs, that if that's okay, but if he was to come to our ground today and get and suffer a hammering, having set out like that, he's in trouble. And that's exactly what transpired. What was also interesting, Steph, before the game, there was about 5 or 6 of us having a chat in block 5, 6, 30 minutes before kickoff. And before we all went our separate ways, I did a quick call round, predict a score.
Oh, yeah.
The confidence in the Arsenal fan base was something I'd not witnessed before. Considering the players we were missing, Gabriel, Havertz, Ødegaard, Martinelli, Madueke, Gyökeres and Jesus. Considering those players are not in the starting 11, it was 2-0, 3-0, 3-1, 2-1. It was just win, win, win. And there was a complete absence of nerves in me up until about 10 seconds into the game. Then I suddenly, I don't like this. We haven't scored. Yeah.
I thought it was, I mean, I'm just going to talk about some of the responses to me personally, because I've had about 3 or 4 separate people talk to me about our preview pod for the North London derby and say, because they would then speak to me face to face. So there was Ian, who sits a couple of seats up from me, and there was a couple of people in the concourse as well. It was sort of like, because they would ask me, how are you feeling today? I was like, well, I've said 2-1 on the thing. They were like, no, you didn't. You said 1-1 on the pod. I was like, look, I know I'm normally Mr. Pessimist, but
Mr.
I think
1-1.
you'll find that was Chris on that one. So, no, even me, Mr. Pessimistic, Mr. Assume the worst, hope for the best, I was looking at that Tottenham game, a Tottenham team who, like you say, were unbeaten away from home, and thinking, I still think we'll win 2-1. I still think we'd sneak it. My prediction was 2-1, and I thought it'd be a lot closer game. And echoing exactly what you said, Chris, about Frank, it's also what that projects to the players. You know, It's all well and good. You know, you're playing a back five and you're looking to sort of keep things tight and everything like that. But I don't know, something. You look at some of those players in the Spurs team, whether it's Richarlison, whether it's Spence, Udogie. Those are players that they don't strike me as the kind of players that love to defend. They want to go at players for right or wrong. Like, that's fine, but you know, and so to project that, okay, we're going to play a back five and we're going to try and contain, immediately just sets you off on a slightly more negative footing, and it just felt like there wasn't much belief from the team in how they could really get at us, which was a real shame. And while we're just mentioning, you know, other people who we know who might listen as well, I would like to remind listeners that they can find us on YouTube if they want to watch at North Bank Pod. What I would really be interested to know, drop a comment, is what are your coping mechanisms when you're watching a game? Especially as we know a lot of people who listen probably aren't at the game. You know, how do you cope? Is it turn the commentators off? Because that's something I've found myself doing as I get older. I'd rather just watch the game with no sound than listen to Steve McManaman pour over a VAR decision for 10 minutes, like, you know, stab myself in the eyes rather than do that. So how do you cope watching on TV? Where do you watch from? And get in touch at North Bank Pod on all the socials, YouTube.
Yeah, do what he said. Okay, the actual game itself. We've acknowledged how poor Spurs were, but I think we can not talk about those guys anymore. Just the basic stats. Our XG was only 1.88, which just points to the quality of the Eze goals, really, I think. Their XG, 0.07. Someone said that it would take them 17 games to score a goal against us at that rate. I can't remember what the number was, but I just it was a lot that way. We had 17 shots to their 3. We had 8. Hang on, what's that? 8 of ours were on target, 2 of theirs. We had 27 touches in their box. They had 4 in ours. Yuri and Timber had 4. We had 4 corners to their 1. I mean, I don't even know where to start, because it's just like, do you know what? Let's use the 4 takeaways as the springboard for wider discussion, and we'll fill in the gaps as we go. So, the standout man of the match, I'm assuming you've all put.
Yeah.
Eze's on fire. Your defence is terrifying. Eze's on fire.
Beautiful.
Just watching his goals again. How cool a customer is he?
He is very.
The first 2 in particular, how he got them out of his feet.
But he does it slowly.
Mm. Well, they're petrified of him. As soon as he gets in the box, you don't want to touch him.
It's Dennis Bergkamp-esque in terms of he seems to have that much time on the ball that nothing's panicked. It's very calm, very cool, and yeah, the panicking is done by the defenders because they don't know. And have we finally got someone who'll take a shot?
Well, this is it.
Clearly, yeah.
When I think about that third goal in particular, just to arc it inside the post, at a time when it's just after half time and the game hasn't really started. Half of our row wasn't even back from the concourse at that point.
Like 35 seconds or something.
Yeah, I know. So, a lot of people missed it. And he caught them cold. He is calm. And that must make for better finishing. How many times do you say of a player, they snatched at it, they rushed it, and you see the ball sailing off into row Z. Well, he didn't rush his work, and he was very cool.
There's a stat, and I didn't write it down, and I've deleted it off my phone. It's the number of shots he's taken. I think there's only Haaland and Mateta who have taken more shots this season in the Premier League, and he's only played half of their minutes.
Mm.
He's up there, and we've been saying that, and
he's not a striker.
No, he's not. And here's the question: what happens to him? Or maybe I should rephrase it. What happens to Ødegaard when Ødegaard's fit?
It doesn't matter. We rotate. That's the point. It's having two brilliant options. Game in, game out. They rotate.
Okay, but does that not risk disrupting momentum for the player?
He can also go wide left.
Okay, right. You say that. And I know, Chris, you want to say that because you've got a bee in your bonnet over Trossard. I don't understand it. But our second takeaway, so the first takeaway we do is man of the match. So, okay, Eze, hat-trick against... can we just... Sorry, before I go off Eze, what a romantic story. What an amazing story. His kind of, not character arc, but you know what I mean? His player arc. Rejected by Arsenal at 13. You've all seen the tweet he put out when he was 15 about, I'm going to make it, and when I am, they'll retweet this tweet or whatever, which is he suffered a lot of rejection, football club rejection in his life, and never lost that belief. But he must really have felt that the ship had sailed, or the opportunity may have passed him at some point, but it hasn't. Wow.
Forget the narrative of his career. I just want to talk about the narrative of his 2025.
Yeah.
Because here is a guy who scores the winner in an FA Cup final. He wins the Community Shield.
To win his club their first ever major trophy.
Then, I just love narrative in football. And that's why I got so giddy yesterday, because when narrative happens, that's when I get that X factor. We win games and we play well, and that's great. But when there's a narrative with it as well is when I lose my mind. He basically was on the verge of signing for Spurs. But being
Did you see his answer?
But being such an Arsenal fan, he thought, I've got to give it one last go, because if I go to Spurs, that's probably it. He phones Mikel Arteta and says, Mick. I'm sure he calls him Mick. Mickey Tets. Any chance of signing me? I'm making myself available, and we do. And what's so good, again, the thing I've been eating up on online is those Spurs fans. The timeline, we forget they were getting giddy. We're signing a player like Eze.
They had him in the starting lineup against Man City.
They had him in the starting lineup. They were talking about how it could be one of the most transformational signings of a generation at Spurs, and then we come and pinch him from them. It's unbelievable. Only for them to then, there's the revisionist history where they're talking about, well, didn't want him anyway, and now we're getting Xavi Simons, aren't we? And he's even better. He's younger, and he's got a higher ceiling. And yeah, we didn't even want Eze anyway. Eze who?
Eze who? What an idiot.
Who's Eze? Who's Eze? I know. I
What
like
an
Frank,
idiot.
but that was a silly thing to do. And even though he was sort of tongue-in-cheek joking as well.
Oh, he was?
But he can use, it's just so tough. And by the way, this is Xavi Simons, who Spurs didn't start because they were going so defensive, and then turned to at half-time, only for us to score, only for Eze to score after 30 seconds, and then he just finishes the game looking like a poodle that's just come from the dog groomers. Spurs fans those salty tears are sustaining us now at the minute. It is just glorious. Narrative. Eze, King of North London. Love it.
I'm not 100% sure on this, but I thought I heard one of the commentators say that he also got married this year.
Oh, did he?
Wow.
Wow.
I'm caveating that with I could be making it up.
I'll do a quick Google.
And I'll just add as well, while you're Googling, that the irony for me was in the game itself, he scored these 3 goals, incredibly, difficult technically, and then he had a glorious opportunity to score the 4th, which was the easiest of the lot, when he had too much time almost, didn't he? And he could have
said it in the post-match interview, he said, I should have had 4.
We're being churlish.
And whilst you are Googling, Steph...
He did absolutely get married this year.
There you go,
as well,
see.
by the way.
I should back myself. The first hat-trick in this fixture since 1978 and Alan Sunderland. I mean, the fact that his is the first hat-trick, the only hat-trick in the Premier League era in this fixture, when the respective clubs have been performing with the likes of Henry and Harry Kane, I couldn't believe it. I wouldn't have told you who would get those hat-tricks, but the fact that Harry Kane and Henry never scored. Henry only got 5 goals against Spurs in 11 appearances, so I thought his record was better against Spurs. But yeah, he must have dreamed of, as a kid, like playing in the North London derby, scoring a goal in the North London derby, scoring a winner in the North London derby. But Steph, can you please tell Chris and everybody else what I said about Eze before the match started?
Yes, I will...
Come on, tell them. No, tell them.
He said Eze will score a hat-trick.
I said Eze will score a hat-trick.
I'm not sure you were fully 100%
I tell you, I'm going to be completely
serious.
honest. I'm going to be completely honest. I put 10 quid on Eze to score a hat-trick at 200. I didn't. I wish I had.
Yeah, right.
I tell you why, honestly now, seriously, honestly this time, I said that Eze will score a hat-trick because I started to think he's going to score the winner, but then I didn't want us to just win by 1. That would have been too tense. So I went, he's going to score a hat-trick. And so it transpired. And he prayed to God that he would score a hat-trick. And lo and behold, here we are, a hat-trick. Right, so wait, reversing way back. The second takeaway we do is, which other player most impressed you in the game? And Chris, I said at one point in the game that if Eze hadn't scored a hat-trick, my man of the match, and there were plenty of other candidates, but my man of the match would have been Trossard. Are you prepared finally to accept that he is...
You've got to drop this, Holly. Okay. For me, it's a tie. Yeah, Trossard. I thought Merino was excellent as well.
I've got Merino down, actually.
So it's a tie between the two, really, for me.
Yeah, I thought Merino, just the work. There were a couple of times when he drifted wide and then a position would open up where you thought a player might be able to cross. And then I'm thinking, well, no, Merino needs to be in the middle to get that. But again, he's playing as a midfielder in attack. He's not an attacker. So his mindset is different. But he allowed us to overload that midfield and make it a bit more dynamic against their back 5, which was great. And I have to say, that pass for Trossard for the first goal is as equal to what Trossard did to control it, turn, and then get the shot. I know there's Van der Ven comes in and obviously gets a touch, but it was just quality, and it was the sort of move that you have to do to break down a back 5 because space is so tight.
10.
Yeah. And so, Merino's vision, it was just great. And at a time when we lost Gyökeres for a few games, I think I saw, 2 goals, 2 assists in that time. What more can you ask for a player who's playing effectively out of position? Absolutely brilliant.
Yep.
Yeah, I Merino and Trossard are written down. Timber, Rice. Timber is just... I wanted Arteta to take Rice and Timber off with 10 minutes to go because they were just so high intensity right to the final whistle. And I'm thinking, okay, conserve. We've got Bayern Munich and we've got, more importantly for me, Chelsea on Sunday. And... our next 2 away games are against the teams currently in 2nd and 4th place, so obviously playing well. So they're going to be 2 tricky away games. We want the intensity there. I could just get. But wow, what performances from Rice again, Timber, Merino, Trossard. Here's a stat about Trossard. Goals against the Premier League's Big Six. Ryan Giggs 18, Trossard 19. So,
You what?
yeah. Oh, that's from. I sorry, credit that. That's from StatMuse, and I don't know StatMuse FC. So I saw that. So I'm crediting that stat to StatMuse, but I'm also reneging any responsibility if it's wrong by referencing that.
Wow.
But so Premier League goals against the Big Six. How that's qualified, I'm not sure. Back in the 90s, but Giggs 18, Trossard 19.
Wow.
Not bad.
Unreal.
Not bad. What was your favourite Eze goal?
Second, I think.
I think the second was my favourite goal in terms of, the quality of the finish and the timing just after half time. I mean, the fact that he then got the hat trick, that was when the lid came off.
Yes, that was my favourite goal because that was the release. That was the...
Yeah.
I mean, had he scored the fourth one, which would have been our fifth, stadium would have... I mean, the roof would have just come off. It was that. It was just ready to absolutely erupt.
Yeah.
And, I mean, like, we got close. The Timber missed a sitter with the header. Do you remember? I didn't see this.
From the corner, yeah.
Yeah, that we should have had a penalty
Could have
from.
been a goal. Yeah.
We
should have had a penalty.
Yeah,
Why?
because Jed Spence...
Oh, he pulled over in Capio.
Yeah, he just
I've seen that
completely
since.
spun around and
Yeah, I
just
didn't know that.
floored him like a WWF or E. What is it? The wrestling stuff.
Yeah.
WWE.
Like a slam dunk.
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm talking about.
A slam
Well,
dunk.
there's
Basketball.
Wildlife. There's the World Wildlife Fund, isn't it? WWF.
I think it is now.
You'd be throwing a panda around or something. Endangered animal.
Okay. What's your positive takeaway from the game? I mean, wow, narrow that down to one, Steph.
Tifo, for me. Right, I want to talk about a couple of things because when people mock Arteta for talking about the process, what they're sort of maybe undermining, and I get it, it can be frustrating because, we're football fans, we want success, as soon as possible. But what he's talking about when he talks about process is that the improvement is not a smooth ride. There's always going to be setbacks and you're going to get things wrong. Last season against PSG, the club got it wrong. They had this idea of this tifo where you draw it up and you don't have to give out loads of plastic bags and all this kind of thing and the other. But they went for something that was corporate and soulless. And so, but I really struggle to fault the club because what they've done then is heard the complaints and then listened. So they realised that didn't work and it looked bad, the optics and all those sorts of things. Even commercially, that wouldn't have gone down very well, damaged the brand and all that kind of stuff. So then they've spoken to fan groups. Now, I don't know all of the fan groups that are involved. I know that Red Action were involved. I know that Capo Dan, who appears on the Guns and Yellow Ribbons podcast, he was involved in some way, and a few other supporters. Arsenal Independent Supporters Association tweeted about it in particular as well, and everyone inputted to it. And then what they lifted up yesterday, and all the fireworks and the music and everything else sort of adds to it as well. But that tifo is players we're all proud of, with a slogan we all believe in and links to the anthem that we all get behind and the wording written in a style that is familiar to us and means something to us. And all those images encapsulated moments against Spurs. So it had that context to it as well. And also Sol Campbell being the top of it was a nice little touch as well. And I just think, as long as you're willing to recognise when mistakes have been made and try and improve upon them, I can't complain. And we see it all the time, whether it's Arteta with his tactics and his team, and then what Berta's been doing in the transfer market. It's a club that are striving to keep pushing forward. And that's all we want, really. And the fact that they're engaging with the fans and realising that we have a part to play as well, I can only applaud it. I thought it was brilliant.
So we've had to endure like decades of Highbury Library accusations and so on. And it was so nice yesterday evening and today to see big football accounts, not club tribal accounts, but big football accounts comment on, oh, Arsenal got the tifo right this time. Look at this.
Well, yeah.
It looks really impressive on the cameras. I mean, we're where we are, Steph, we're kind of underneath it, behind it, to the right a little bit.
Yeah.
So we were looking at it from behind almost. But then you could see it when you saw it on the big screens there. It was like, oh, that looks good.
They look
with
great.
the red and white plastic bag things behind it as well, and then the fight. It did look really impressive, and the atmosphere pre-game was good. That's probably the loudest I've heard the Angels sung out before a kick-off in a game. There may be others, but for me, that's the loudest it's been. There were more scarves on show during its rendition also, which was pleasing. And just on the Angel, I wonder how those very few Spurs fans who remained at the end of the game, were there at the final whistle, how they felt when North London Forever rings out again after having witnessed their team's complete capitulation against a far superior opposition. So I must admit.
Lest
Chris.
we remind them, by the way, and I'm being sort of pedantic here, but having grown up in Enfield, which was one of the new boroughs created in 1965, we were part of Middlesex.
Oh,
Middlesex.
Yeah.
And Tottenham was within that Middlesex catchment. Just for those people who don't know, so we were technically in North London before Tottenham.
And North London is ours.
Well,
So
it is now,
it's red.
certainly.
It's red.
Certainly is.
It's
but
red.
I just love that as a metaphor, that tifo as a metaphor, Steph. That's really lovely.
It's
where we're
it's
going.
the club trying to get things right. They're not going to get everything right, but the fact that they listen and they try and correct themselves, love it.
My takeaway is really more about the setup and that scoring 4 goals without so many attacking players. And I know it nearly worked against Sunderland, but you know, we've patched up pretty well, you know, considering we don't have a spearhead in attack. And to see the way we've set up against Spurs and put 4 past them and could have been 6, that's my main sort of takeaway, just how impressed I was with the way we set up.
4 open play goals as well. They don't count. They don't count as much, do they?
No, not anymore, apparently.
I haven't seen the table with open play goals because no Premier League team have scored more open play goals in November than we have. So I want to see the BBC put that table out with open play goals.
Yep.
Did Jamie Carragher bang on about the celebration afterwards, or was there any? Where's the celebration police? They've all gone bloody quiet, haven't they? Do you think it's because we're good?
There's
They've
nothing
run out
to.
of things, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I sent you the link for a stat. We've scored the most open play goals in November. So, you know.
Gary Neville on comms during the game when we scored, I think the third, was angrily shouting, "And I'm pleased for them."
Yes.
I'm pleased for them. And you could tell it was slightly hurting him to say it, that we were the better team and we deserved it, and I'm pleased for them.
Well, when we were 1-0 up and everyone was singing 1-0 to the Arsenal, I turned to Steph and I said 1-0 to the football team, because there was only one team there playing football and it wasn't Spurs. And it was that second goal before half-time, that was the important one, because going in at 2-0 was a lot more comforting, a much fairer reflection on what actually transpired in the first half. I mean, at least a 2-0 lead was warranted from both teams' perspectives. Okay, I wrote down tifo, and I wrote down as my positive takeaway that we took advantage of the other 2 teams slipping up, Liverpool and City. Now, I know that we should start talking about Chelsea, and we will give them more credit in our Chelsea preview pod, which will come out on Thursday, perhaps before we go to Stamford Bridge on Sunday. But I just thought, you know, Saturday's drop points. So City lost at Newcastle, Liverpool lost hilariously at home to Forest, Sean Dyche ball 3-0, and so on. And it only meant something if we actually took advantage and capitalised on it. And so that's my point. We actually did it. We stepped up. There's no issue with mentality, no issue with bottling it. We absolutely wiped the floor with them. Do we go down a negative takeaway? Steph, have you got one?
Yeah.
Okay.
That bloody goal we conceded.
No, this is good.
Zubimendi holding on to the ball too bloody long, and Raya nowhere near on his line. I mean, what made it hilarious, and I'm definitely going to do some kind of thread on this on social media. My favourite niche category of goal is brilliant goals that mean absolutely nothing.
That's why I said it's good.
Oh,
yeah.
It's good. Oh, exactly. The fact that Richarlison scored one of the better goals of his career and he can't celebrate. I know, absolutely impotent. Oh, yeah, brilliant. Oh, great. Yeah,
it's almost glorious in and of itself.
Yes, I get that, and that's absolutely fine. But, if there is anything negative, it's just...
It's called the Lamella principle.
Yes.
Technically.
That was a good goal, though.
It was.
Nothing.
And I'm definitely going to do something listeners, again, drop some comments. Tell me about brilliant goals that meant absolutely nothing. Brilliant consolation goals where people can say, the one that always sticks in my mind is Christian Benteke for Liverpool. Scored a brilliant, side overhead kick volley thing against United, but they were losing 4-0 at the time. It's bloody brilliant.
Chris.
Yeah. No.
Negative.
No, I mean, I could have said that as well, because in the group, I just kind of frustratedly punched out that it's just that typical thing. You're cruising at 3 and there was half an hour to go. And I got a little bit irked because, again, I was on my own in my little bubble. And I thought, if they get another one here, yeah.
Couldn't even really
you
message
have your
us.
gnome.
No gnomes in the garden either to go and vent my anger at. No, I couldn't. I would be too churlish of me to say anything more.
Well, my negative, I put down 2 little mini negatives, and that was no clean sheet as well, like you guys, and that we didn't score more. But it's they're my complaints. I can live with that after winning a game 4-1.
Well, Rice volley, Timber header, Eze the easier chance. Stick 3 goals on that. You're 7-1 against Spurs. That would have been. I wouldn't have been at work today.
You'd have been complaining about the one though.
But that bloody one.
Who's our top goal contributor this season?
Trossard.
5 goals and 5 assists. That's 10. Eze's next with 5 goals and 2 assists. Gyökeres and Saka both have 6 goals, but that's some output. Trossard is like the Freddie Ljungberg of this iteration.
Has he become undroppable?
Well, this is my question. See, so this is what probably. So, Steph, I said to you, or I asked you to, and Steph, you answered. I said, right, okay, Ødegaard is fully fit. What happens to Eze? And you said, well, rotation. Then I said, but you risk a player losing a bit of momentum. They like to play that regular to keep the form up and the feel and so on. So, Chris, you then said, well, push him out wide. But then that means our most effective player this season doesn't start. So what? I mean, it's a great
what a nice problem
to have. And you play the player on form, I guess, is what I'm saying. And until he loses that form, then you have a decision to make.
So Eze and Trossard, until otherwise.
Yeah, and Martinelli scrapping it out on the left as well. But great. Lovely problems to have.
So we spoke to Tabs from the Grove podcast. He met us in the concourse before the game. His theory on Trossard is because of the esteem he's not held in, fans are not clamouring for a Trossard to be in the starting 11. Whereas the thought of, a bit like you said, Chris, I think a lot of people would say that you move Eze to the left, possibly as well. My feeling is I worry that Trossard suffers from a little bit of the Mesut Ozils in that his demeanour colours what people sort of see him as a player. And because he doesn't have this big stature and because he's not lightning quick, he's one of those players that does everything 8 out of 10, but nothing 10 out of 10. Do you know what I mean? I mean, look, his finishing is probably up there, to be honest, at the moment, and his touch and whatever, because he's in a good form. But he also has a slight sulk on his face, and
it's a bit waspish. I heard someone describing it as waspish.
That will colour people's opinions. You know, we do it all the time, whether it's TV presenters or politicians or musicians or whatever. You can just get a feel, and I just wonder if his demeanour colours some people's views of him. I love him. I think he's great. I think he fits in with that Moneyball meme, you know, from the Billy Bean movie, where he says, why do we like him? Because he just gets on base. And for Trossard, he just gets involved in goals, you know, and all the other stuff kind of goes with it.
I tell you what always impresses me about him, and I've always said this.
Holly, you do know we record these and we put them out into the world.
Yeah, nobody can be bothered to go trawl back through those.
I might.
Yeah, but listen, I've got plenty of WhatsApp messages which
we've all slagged him off at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's only 5'7", like he's my height, and he's up against real athletic beasts. But he's so hard. He rarely loses the ball. And when our seat's in row 5, so you're really close to seeing exactly the skill level with his close control. I must have a very low centre of gravity, because he's got this ability to ward off really strong, big, bully type defenders, and find the little 5-yard, 10-yard pass to a teammate in space. I am rediscovering a fondness for him and an appreciation for him. And I did do a little appreciation segment in a recent podcast as well. So he is I think he is absolutely undroppable at the moment. I don't think you can argue with that. He got the first goal yesterday.
Also, notably, he doesn't seem to get injured.
Oh, Chris.
I'm touching wood here.
Pardon?
I'm surrounded by wood.
That's another podcast, that is.
Late Night North Bank.
Late Night North.
I'll turn
where
the lights.
Are you? Chris, where are you?
I'll turn the lights down, shall I? Purple night, purple lights, jazz music.
Okay, I've got one final stat that I guarantee none of you have heard. I mean, I say that. So I'm giving it the big intro. It's about Eze, and this is one of the more random stats or facts I've heard, and I credit a Bill Edgar and I didn't look into it because I screenshot it, so I couldn't click through the link. In his kind of handle, it says Times, so I don't know, is he working for the Times or not, but Bill Edgar anyway. Eze is the first player with a palindromic surname to score a top-flight hat-trick since Albert Mallam for Huddersfield against Liverpool in 1934. Now,
God.
As English teachers, Steph, I'm pretty sure you'll appreciate me dropping in a palindromic reference to, and just a shout out to Ian and a thank you for letting us know that ambidextrous doesn't qualify as a description for left and right-handed. What does, Steph?
Ambipedal. For left and right-footed.
Yeah, there you go. So every day is a learning day.
Yeah.
But I thought that was brilliant. Palindromic surname, first hat-trick. How on earth Bill Edgar resourced that? I've no idea. Since Albert Mallam for Huddersfield against Liverpool in 1934.
Special.
Yet another warranted record for Eze. Well done, son. Anything else on yesterday? Steph, you might have a couple of little stories, perhaps? Or
I've got a couple of little shout-outs. Yes, absolutely. So, look, we've been doing this for a good couple of years and a little bit more now, and it's getting to the point where a few people are obviously messaging us from around the world, and I had a couple of little moments. So, in the concourse before the game, I saw someone who came down with our supporters club but didn't come to the meet and greet. So I went over to them basically to brag that I'd met Gabrielle, but, you know, we'll leave that aside. And while I'm sort of speaking to them, this guy, quite a big, bald guy, just sort of pushed me and goes, "Hey, you were on the podcast." And I'm like, yeah, I am. Yeah. Listen, he's like, I'm from Holland. And I was like, brilliant. Okay, brilliant. It's great to know that our podcast gets out there. And then he said, do you like Tommy Shelby? And I was like, what? From Peaky Blinders? He's like, because he's obviously just picking up on the hat. And I'm like, no, yes, okay, yes, I am. Yes, good.
You live your life to his standards.
Yes, I do.
And morals.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that was great. That was the first little bit. And then after the game, even better. So someone who's commented in on the pod before and left a few messages on our Spotify and listens on there. So hello to Richard Lauder. Who, as I was making my way out from Block 5 and 6, stopped me and said hello and introduced himself. We had a little chat. I do apologise if I was slightly giddy and incoherent because, it had been a quite emotional afternoon. But it was absolutely lovely for people to sort of make themselves known and let us know they're listening and enjoying the pod because, we're just so... I feel so humble that it's not just, my mum and my wife, pity listening, that it's great that people are getting involved. And leave us comments on YouTube, leave us comments on Spotify, wherever you listen to your pods, because we love hearing from you and where you're watching and following the Arsenal from. So that was great. See you again soon, Rich.
And a follow up shout out to Babak who's listening from Southern California. Again, many thanks, full gratitude and all that. Hope we've entertained you this time as well. Yeah. Are you not entertained? Come on.
Oh, what a
4-1.
What a weekend.
Bring it. Anything else on Spurs before we look ahead to Bayern Munich on Wednesday, briefly?
I would just drop in, we mentioned briefly Nketiah. I just thought the fact that he came in with no real connection in terms of, experience with Saliba and just was rock solid, really impressive. We thought Mosquera would get the nod simply by virtue of having played more minutes. But on paper, obviously, Nketiah was a more Gabriel type fit, and I thought he was really good. Hugely tested.
I haven't checked this, but I'm pretty sure he won every aerial duel.
Aerially was very
unreal.
Impressive.
Yeah, really impressive.
And I tell you what he did that Gabriel didn't do a little bit. He spread the play. He played that kind of... what do you call that?
Quarterback.
Is it the quarterback pass? I noticed that a few times, which again, against a low block might be good, getting them turning and running towards their own goal. And just to kind of vary up the play as well, because there was a lot of the old, what do you call it, the horseshoe of doom in the first 30 minutes. I mean, we shouldn't be surprised. The guy's an invincible with Bayer Leverkusen and an Ecuadorian international, and his defence he plays in for Ecuador don't concede any goals.
Yeah.
It's again, I know he's on loan, a bit like the Raya deal, on loan at the moment, but it's a loan with is it an obligation to buy?
Option.
No, I don't think. It have to be an option. I don't know. It's just to get it into the next year's accounts. But it's just the standard of backup we've got is first team in most clubs. It's so good, which is great indeed. Champions League on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
I think we should play the kids. Rest everyone, play the kids. I don't care.
Yeah, it takes on a new dynamic now, doesn't it?
I don't care. We're going to qualify. We need to win 2 more games probably to get to 18 points, when everyone says 16 points will probably be enough to get you into the top 8. So win 2 more. I don't care. Is that terrible?
But you know what Arteta's going to do, and we all probably want, from a sort of safety point of view, is to rest some legs. But I think he will start pretty much a very strong team and then look to take them off earlier and bring on maybe those who've been injured for a while and give them some minutes. So that's
okay. Go on then, Chris. Who's your starting 11 then?
I've vacillated over the fullbacks because I think he'll switch one of the fullbacks. It'll either be White or it'll be MLS coming in. So I'm going to go White. I'm going to say that White, Saliba, Nketiah and Calafiori, Raya in goal. I think he'll stick with exactly the same front 5 that played as starters for the game. So Zubi, Rice, Saka, Merino, Trossard.
And Eze.
Oh, and Eze, of course. Yeah. Who?
All right, Frank.
He was so good, I just assumed. Yeah.
Steph.
Using exactly the same logic and thinking, I've come to a very, very similar conclusion, but I've gone with the other fullback. I just think because Calafiori was a doubt for Italy and didn't play,
and he went off injured.
Went off, yeah, a little bit gingerly maybe. So I think Lewis Skelly comes in at left back for me. And so as you were,
this is not pre-scripted, obviously, but I've actually done a little bit from column A and a little bit from column B. Each of you are columns A and B, but I've gone for the two full-back changes. So Raya in goal, and I think he'll start with White and Lewis Skelly, just on the basis that I personally want Tim, but he was so high intensity in that game. I think you're just running the risk.
That's why I would rest him.
He's arguably more important to us. Is he more important to us? The Calafiori played well as well against Spurs. But I think Timber's more important. I just think one thing he's added to his game this season is in an attacking sense. Like, he's so good defensively. But wow, him and Saka, I don't know who did it in one of the post-match analysis conversations, that it's like the two of them are twins. That, like, wherever you see one, you see the other. Saka and Timber. I think it was Ian Wright. I saw a clip from whatever, maybe American broadcaster. So, anyway, White and Lewis Skelly is the two fullbacks, Saliba and Hincapié in the middle, and the front six or the forward six as you were. Again, Madueke got, 15 minutes? Martinelli didn't come on, so that's okay. There was no need to risk him. That's fine. He'll have another 3 days to come in. I would suspect Ødegaard will appear on the bench because he was the next one in the list. Gyökeres may be on the bench for Sunday. I don't know. Chris, score.
Yeah. Well, I'd sort of got, wet the bed a bit with the Spurs game because I just felt that, having come off international break, Sunderland, the sucker punch, losing Gabriel, I just kind of felt a bit, I had it down as a win and I went with the draw. But I am going with a draw again, I'm afraid, with this one. So I'm going 1-1.
You might have to pick a draw from now on.
Yeah, but I'm happy to.
Yeah.
1-1.
Steph?
Oh, well, mine's different from the Spurs game. Bayern are probably the form team across Europe's leagues this year.
They're only 6 points clear in their league as well.
Yeah, I mean, because they were on a winning run. I can't remember how many games it ran into with their European form as well. And then recently, I think, drew a game in the Bundesliga.
They do score a lot, but they do concede as well.
This is sort of my thinking as well, because Harry Kane's also back, and he'll obviously undoubtedly dive to get a penalty. So, 2-2.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, Luis Diaz is suspended for the game, so that's good from our perspective. We've got 3 draws. I've gone for, same as you, Chris, 1-1.
All right.
But yet, I mean, I can see goals in this game. And this might be privileged Pratt talk, but I'm happy to forfeit this game if it means we get the win at Stamford Bridge.
Absolutely.
If that's the way the world works and we could only have one win from these next 2 games, for me, it's... And I know the players won't share that.
No, but...
Because, they'll believe they can win both games, which is good. They should believe that. They've demonstrated that that's a possibility. But, you give me a draw now, no injuries... Chelsea play on Tuesday at home to Barcelona, and they had rested players against Burnley for that game. I'm hearing mixed views as to whether Cole Palmer will... He certainly won't start against us, but he might be on the pitch.
Maresca's comments were pretty definite that he's...
No, but today he said that...
Oh, really?
He's been on the pitch. We know... Yeah, that was on Friday. Yeah.
Okay. I thought he was definitely out.
He'd written him off for these 3 games. Chelsea's midfield worry me, but look, we'll talk about Chelsea after the Bayern game. We'll do a proper focus on Chelsea and a little look back on Bayern. Anything else? Do you want to end with the chant, Steph?
Which one? I mean, it was just they were popping off. You know, whether it was the Sol Campbell double or all the very negative, quite sweary ones against
My
Spurs.
favourite chant was "Are you Tottenham in disguise?"
Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant. Are you Tottenham? I thought, oh yeah. I did have a slight heart flutter when at 1-0 the chant went up, Tottenham get battered everywhere that they go. Thought, too soon.
Bit early.
1-0.
If I have any quibble this season, it's that we do go quite early on some chants, a little bit too soon. Like there's certain things, like there's chants for players, a bit like the Eze one, which we're always going to sing, don't get me wrong, and I'll be joining in as well. But the fact that he scores again, but we sing it before he scores, something in my brain and the way my brain works, it doesn't sit right.
Well, he's got 5 goals now, so he is more likely to score than not score now.
Just
at
the
least.
fact that it was against them. F off Tottenham, I'm a gooner now. Oh, mwah. Drink it in. But Eze's on fire at the end. Whoever played Free From Desire, it just worked.
I never heard it. I never heard us sing.
Well, we never have. I don't think we have. It was in the moment.
We haven't had our own Will Grigg.
No. Eze is the new Will Grigg.
Yeah. In what world, you know? What
right?
world are we talking about? Excellent. Right. Okay. Excellent. Brilliant. Thank you. I'm done. I'm going to go and lie down. Well, no, I'm not. I'm going to go and rewatch the Arsenal Spurs game. So there you go.
We're going to do a quickie, aren't we, on Wednesday night?
Oh yes, we're gonna try something new.
Well, hey,
We're going to put out an on the final whistle or 20 minutes
after
after
how
the
to
final.
brand it yet, have we? We've got to come up with a funky name for it as a sort of
Suggestions welcome.
yeah.
there you go. Something else.
Printable suggestions welcome.
In the comments, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, at North Bank Pod. What should we call our thing that other streams call on the whistle? Because we can't nick everyone else's.
Listen, or why bother trying to reinvent the wheel?
Yeah, isn't it?
There you go. Anyway, that was awesome. That was fantastic. That's my favourite footballing weekend of the season so far. Because
Keep
I expect it to
basking,
be
yeah.
bettered.
Just keep enjoying it is my
Yeah.
I'd say.
Oh,
Just
top of the league.
Top
Say
of the league.
are
Say
top
we
of
are
the league.
top of the league.
I will
See you
always
next
sing
time.
that when we're top of the league. Bye, bye. See ya.
The North Bank, an Arsenal podcast. Subscribe, rate and review on your app and find us on your socials at North Bank Pod. Email hello@thenorthbankafc.com and check out our website, thenorthbankafc.com. Produced by the Podcast Company.